Okay. All right. Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming this afternoon. I'm Rich Whitney, Green Party candidate for governor. In recent days, our campaign has learned of 3 planned gubernatorial debates in which the sponsoring organizations have decided to invite only Governor Quinn and Senator Brady to participate. One is a debate sponsored by Elmhurst College to be broadcast over WBEZ radio on Sunday the 17th. The second is the October 20th debate sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Illinois and WLS-TV ABC Chicago. And the third is scheduled for Thursday, October 28th at 7 p.m. on WTTW, sponsored in part by the City Club of Chicago. The League of Women Voters and WTTW are also sponsoring senatorial debates, omitting my colleague, Green Party U.S. Senate candidate Lee Ellen Jones. In each case, the sponsoring organization has used public opinion polling numbers to justify their restrictions, but coupled with time limitations over which the candidates have no control. Interestingly, when I ran in 2006, the magic number seemed to be 5%. Now the magic number seems to be 10%. Then when I polled over 10% in August, then they started saying that I needed to pull 10% within certain time restrictions. Somehow the bar keeps getting raised. In any event, our campaign is not taking this lying down. We are launching an aggressive campaign, actually kind of launched yesterday. We're getting a lot more out today, to basically demand on behalf of Illinois voters that I be included in all gubernatorial debates for a number of reasons. We can talk a little bit about the polling numbers if you want. I'll be happy to go into that. But basically, public opinion polling today, it's a black box. We know nothing about their polling methods in most cases. Most of these organizations that do conduct the statewide polls won't tell us what the polling methods are. We don't know, for example, are they only calling people with home phone numbers, ignoring the fact that a larger and larger percentage of the population doesn't rely on that, not to mention a growing percentage that doesn't answer the home phone when they do have one. How misleading is that? We're not learning much about those methods or what pool is being used and so on. I might point out that even if you just look at the Quinn and Brady numbers, they're all over the map. One poll shows Quinn ahead, the next one shows Quinn significantly behind. This in and of itself tells us that we can't really rely too much on the polling numbers. But perhaps more importantly, we shouldn't be relying on the polling numbers. What is the purpose of a civic organization? It is to allow the citizens to choose. It's to inform the voting public so that they have an opportunity to decide who the best candidate is. Then you will see the polling numbers change. And of course, the only real poll that really matters is the one that's conducted on Election Day by the people who actually go out to vote. I might point out in this regard that in 2006, I won over 10% of the actual vote, 361,000 votes, which is more than double the number of votes that Senator Brady received in the Republican primary in 2010. So does it really make sense for Senator Brady to be given the opportunity to debate the incumbent and I do not? I don't think so. Perhaps most importantly, really most importantly, what about the voters? That's what this is supposed to be about. It's not so much that this is an injury to me and the Green Party, although it is that. This is supposed to be about the voters. How can voters make the best choice as to who the best candidate is in the race unless they're given a fair opportunity to hear the perspectives of all the candidates put to the test of debate? This is as American and Illinoisan as mom and apple pie. Think Lincoln Douglas, think Kennedy Nixon. You know, we want to inform the voters, let all the candidates be given the opportunity to present their point of view and test it against the arguments of the other candidates, such as they are. Finally, Illinois cannot afford, literally and figuratively, to elect a governor who doesn't have a real plan for solving our state's structural deficit problem. In article after article, editorial after editorial, forum after forum, everyone agrees. Along with the economy, our state's budget deficit disaster is plainly the #1 problem facing our state. And article after article, interview after interview, forum after forum confirms the fact that I am the only candidate in the race that actually has a plan for solving the budget crisis in a way that allows our government to perform its core functions and provide better education, better social services, pay vendors on time, provide for public safety, and take care of children, the elderly, the unemployed, and people with disabilities. You look at all the other four candidates that are on the ballot. The only one who is at least leveling with the people of Illinois is the Libertarian candidate, Lex Green, who at least flatly states that he intends to systematically dismantle the public sector in our state. That's his party's ideology. It's been thoroughly discredited, but at least he's being honest. The other candidates, Quinn, Brady, and Scott Lee Cohen, they don't have a plan. One of them is actually already in the process of dismantling the public sector systematically. The other one pretty much would be laying the groundwork for it by promising to cut 10 cents off the dollar. And of course, if you really needed to balance the budget that way, you'd really need to cut 40 cents on the dollar, which would be a complete catastrophe. And then Scott Lee Cohen, basically, he takes the worst aspects of both Quinn and Brady in his so-called plan for the budget, where he does have targeted spending cuts of 3% across the board, and then has a lot of fantasy economics telling us how he's somehow going to raise revenue without raising taxes, and really promises to continue not paying bills for 4 more years. So whichever the other candidates you look at, the fact remains that in this race, I am the only candidate that has a comprehensive plan for dealing with the #1 problem facing the people of this state, the budget crisis. So for that additional reason, as well as the fact that it really is about performing civic duty and allowing the voters to hear all points of view, it's imperative that I be included in the debates. We are launching a campaign to get debate sponsors to do the right thing, that's what we're calling this, and include me in all planned gubernatorial debates. We produced a 60-second ad, which now appears on my website and our YouTube channel, and are aggressively raising funds to get it on the air, and that in turn will further the message. We have contacted and tried to reason with debate sponsors. We are still hopeful that some of them will see the light of reason and will see fit to include me. But we are also mobilizing people to contact them en masse and demand that I be included in all the debates. And if persuasion and pressure does not work, we will make them pay a political price by conducting street protests during any illegitimate debates that go on without including me. This is part of our larger fight to get our message out, and we intend to win that struggle, and we're still very much in the fight to win this election. Thank you very much for listening. You have my more complete statement on this issue, and I'll be happy to take some questions.